Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about a tarot deck that's a few years old and it's not very well known, and that is the Merlin Tarot by R.J.Stewart. And this is the second version. This was published in 2003 by Harper Collins, and this was created by R.J.Stewart, who is quite a well-respected expert on tarot and the Western mystery tradition. So here is the box for the second version, and it's quite a hard box. It's actually a slip case to put the cards and the small book in, and it also came with a small journal as well, and I'll show you all that in a moment. So there's the cover of the box, and it was illustrated by Miranda Gray, who also did the Arthurian Tarot, and this is another version of that deck, a later version of that deck. And the Arthurian Tarot, also illustrated by Miranda Gray, this was published in 1990 originally, and the Merlin Tarot was originally published in 1992, which was 2 years later, and this tarot is based on the life of Merlin. So it's a very interesting deck, but it has got its own system, and strangely enough it's also a Cabala deck as well, and you wouldn't expect a Celtic type of deck to have Cabala connected to it, but that's how R.J. Stewart created the deck and wrote the book. But the numbering of the cards is very different. So I think for someone who is just learning Cabala for the first time, it wouldn't be a good deck for someone who is new to Cabala, but for someone who's been quite familiar with Cabala, I think it would be quite okay to choose this deck for that reason. But you can use the deck without following Cabala. This is the box that came inside the slipcase, and I've flattened that down because I don't really use it, but that is the cover of the box that was inside the slipcase box. Here is the companion book, same as the cover of the box. And this book is very useful. You really have to have this book, I think, for the deck. If you somehow got the deck without the book, it would be a bit hard to follow, especially when the numbering of the cards is quite different. So the companion book is quite useful. The original version of the deck came with a much larger and more substantial book, the 1992 version, and that has a blue cover and a blue box. If you can get that, that's worth having, but if not, this smaller companion book is still really quite informative and useful. You can definitely get by with this smaller companion book. And it comes with a journal, which is really handy. Here's the cover of the hardcover journal that comes with it. And I think this is really useful, and I like to make notes in this particular journal when I am using the companion book, because the companion book has its own system, and it's really useful to make some notes here and there in regard to the Merlin Tarot. So now for the cards. I'm going to show some major arcana cards first. The back of the cards has the god, solar god Sulis on the back, because the sun and the moon and what R.J. Stewart calls the stellar regions So the sun, moon and star is quite important in this deck. And I'll just show some of my favourite cards. Here is the Magician. So if you look at the numbering, you can see it's quite different, but it is not supposed to have anything to do with the usual tarot numbering. So there will be people who would want to ignore the numbering. I do. I ignore the numbering. I just go by the title of the card. So the Magician. I really love the artwork. Miranda Gray is a great artist. But these are really aspects of Merlin's life. The Priestess. The Emperor. The colours look a little bit pastel, but they're actually a little bit more vibrant when you're actually holding the cards. The colours are a bit richer than how they're appearing on the screen. The Chariot. And the companion book does explain the images on the cards as well. Justice. The Hermit. This is one of my favourite cards in the deck, because R.J.Stewart sees the Hermit as the wise man aspect of Merlin, which I do as well. So I really like this card. Fortune. I love the way it's got the Wheel of the Year and the 4 aces, the 4 ace cards that are in the deck. What he calls the 4 worlds and the 4 directions. And I think he includes the major arcana in that as well. Strength card. It's quite a beautiful strength card. You can really see the spiritual energy of that card. Another lovely card, Hanged Man. You've just got quite a strong emphasis on the water element at the bottom of the card. Death card. It's a lovely card. The Star. Moon. It's showing the moon as a divine being in the corner. Judgment card. The think that's a great judgment card. With the spinner of fate at the top of the card, like a type of angel of death, really. It's a symbol of destiny. It's a great card. And the world card, which he calls the universe, which is the divine androgen. Another great card. And now for the minor arcana, and he's renamed each of these suits. The fire suit is the ace, is serpents. So here is the ace of serpents. So this is a creature that's really half dragon and half serpent. There's a snail tail of the serpent here. So this is like a dragon serpent figure. Ace of serpents for fire. Now these are plain pips, but they have keywords on them. So here's two serpents. This is the two of serpents, and the word choice is on this. The only thing I don't like about the plain pips is that I would have liked the plain pips numbered. So you have to actually count the figures that are on here. Or you can use the book, because the book will clearly say whether it's the two of serpents. So that's okay. But I think it's a help to have the numbering on the pip cards. So two of serpents, choice, and the queen of serpents, which is like the Queen of Wands figure. And the same thing with the court cards. This doesn't say Queen of Serpents, but you can see that it is a queen. There's the cups, which is in this deck is called fishes for water. So ace of fishes. There is a cup on the ace. Ace of fishes. Same thing again. This is the three of fishes. And it is affection. Three of fishes, the three of cups, and the queen of fishes, or queen of cups. Quite a beautiful card. I love the artwork of this deck because I love Miranda Gray's artwork. Now for air, the air element is birds, which would normally be swords. So the ace of birds, and there's an arrow in the bird claws, and arrows are sometimes used instead of swords for air. So ace of birds for air. Two of birds, which would normally be two of swords, and keyword is doubt. And the king of birds, which would be the king of swords. It's a great card. Then the suit of earth, which is called Beasts in this deck. So there's the Ace of Beasts. And I think this is also seen as shields rather than coins or pentacles. So you can also think of this as Ace of Shields or Ace of Beasts. Two of Beasts, which would be two of coins or two of shields. Change is the key word. And the Queen of Beasts, which is like the Queen of Shields or Queen of Coins. So there's some of the cards from the Merlin Tarot by R.J.Stewart and illustrated by Miranda Gray. I'm not sure if it is available even in this second edition from 2003 anymore. It might be a bit hard to get. The first and second edition were published by Harper Collins, and I don't know if they are still publishing or whether they might reissue again. But I wanted to show the deck because it's not very well known, and the artwork by Miranda Gray is really lovely. And for people who have an interest in Merlin as well, it's a really good deck for that reason. And for other people who would like a Celtic deck or another type of deck, again, that's a pagan type of deck, and people who are interested in using a pagan type of deck or a Celtic deck to do with Cabala. So there's some of the cards, and I hope you enjoyed seeing that deck. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.